Today we will talk a little bit about the future of Gatorade and the future of a sports fuel. So it's about the future, but we will go back and to the origins of Gatorade. 50 years ago, there was a scientist called Dr. Kate that worked at the University of Florida, and he basically partnered with the football team to solve one problem. Athletes were getting dehydrated on the field, and water was not enough. So the men go in the lab and start mixing water, salt, sugar to create kind of the perfect drink to rehydrate these players. At the beginning, the taste was awful. So, he failed at the beginning, innovation. It's a, reiterative process. But then his wife told him, said, okay, maybe if you add a little bit of lemon juice, you will fix it. And then Gatorade was born. One problem, one solution. So when we approach to create kind of the future of Gatorade, where we want to go, we also want to start with kind of a clear hypothesis, a clear problem to solve. We start with the idea of individualization. And knowing that every athlete is unique, probably one size fits all was not enough. And the idea that to develop kind of a unique sports drink for every athlete could be the way to evolve sports hydration and better fuel the athletes on the field and provide them an advantage. And in fact, in the world of the sport, personalization, it's already there. So, on equipment, it's kind of athletes are getting kind of personalized shoes, personalized tennis rackets. Their training programs is kind of, the way kind of a cyclist trains or a runner trains, even based on their body and kind of biotype, etc. They are personalizing everything that they do. It's just that the sports fuel, sports nutrition, sports hydration was left behind. So that was kind of our premise. And then we start with kind of 3 key pillars on that. So the first one is that let's leverage technology. Second is kind of the platform should be grounded in sports science. We want to be sure that these are not bells and whistles, that we are really providing an advantage to the athletes. And then a sharp point to the athletes. This should be for athletes. Let's use this as a filter. And then we start with the real world, similar to what Dr. Kate did. We had the opportunity that the Brazil national soccer team approached us, and with Gatorade being one sponsor, they asked us, okay, help us win the World Cup. I said, oh, wait a minute, that's not our job. You guys are responsible to score goals. That's what you should do. But maybe what we could provide you is the idea that every player will have a unique formula based on his physiology, the type of weather where he's playing, and that could provide an advantage versus the other teams. So with that in mind, we basically said, okay, let's do it. Let's try it. And there's a quick video that summarizes the project.
When Gatorade partnered with one of the world's top football clubs, the Brazilian national team, elite athlete service was elevated to an entirely new level. The Brazilian team opened the door, granting Gatorade scientists unprecedented access.
Together with the CBF team, we developed research on heat stress and dehydration to see how the body responds during exercise.
Each player received his own personalized bottle and customized product formulation through the introduction of the Drinkfinity pods and the hydration tracking system.
Hoje, vários jogadores, quando vão para a seleção brasileira, cada leva seus kits.
The player just comes with this pod that contains his specific formula, plugs it in, shake it, mixed with water, and he's ready to go. This is the technology we are using. This bottle has a microchip in it that sends information in real time to the coach.
Gatorade added further support by providing the Brazilian team with their own fuel bar to access sports nutrition products, education, and insights. The partnership with the Brazilian national team represents a big step, but it's just the first step as elite athlete service grows on a global scale. Gatorade will expand the roster, working with more teams in a variety of sports. Emerging technology platforms will be leveraged as never before. Sports fuel personalization is the present and future vision. Improved athletic performance will always be the ultimate goal.
So for the soccer fans in the audience, Brazil didn't win the World Cup. Somebody said that soccer is a sport that it's 11 players and again against 11 players, and at the end, Germany wins. And this is more or less what it happened. But still, the pilot was an innovation success because we proved that the sports field personalization for a pro team was possible to do. Players embrace the idea of personalization to have something unique to them. The coach and the staff get the performance advantage of the platform. And even internally, we proved that something that we never did before was possible to do. So we decided to keep iterating on the platform. And we approach with this piloting mindset. What we start with one team, 25 players in one sport, to explore to multiple teams, working with NBA teams, NFL teams, but also going down is this personalization platform also could be relevant to high school athletes. And the value of piloting is that you learn things. So an example of that is first is to be on the field. It helps to identify the problem. So here it's an example of how much work it took, just to prepare the bottles for the Brazil team every morning before practice. So we said, okay, maybe we need to review the whole process and being there with the team just to come up with the right solution. Another value of piloting are what we call the happy accidents. So in this case, we set up the smart cup bottles with a remote activation through our tablets. But then we learned that just putting the bottles on a cooler and just kicking the cooler help to activate the bottles. Unless you are on the field doing that, it's impossible to predict that on the lab. And also, it's where you need to invest your resources, where low tech and paper and whiteboards are good, and where you need to invest in solutions like sweat patches to really test the athletes and be more efficient on the process. And also, to tailor your offer based on the audience. So maybe the problem to solve is the same, sports field personalization, but what personalization means for a high school kid could be different than what it means for a pro athlete. It's about self-expression and have your own bottle, or it's about this performance advantage and track everything. So with that, we create the GX platform, Gatorade Sports Field Customization, and come up with a very meaningful platform, and that we will detail a little bit the different components.
Your game is our lab. Introducing the future of sports fuel. Gatorade GX, your real-time hydration coach. Gatorade GX tracks fluid loss before, during, and after training, capturing every moment of sweat, measuring electrolyte and sodium loss in real time. Fluid intake is continually monitored with on-the-fly guidance, showing you when to hydrate while pacing your intake. Analyzing your fluid balance, Gatorade GX unlocks your personal fuel strategy. Recommending fuel formulas based on your electrolyte and carbohydrate needs. Conveniently delivered through an innovative equipment system. Replacing what's been lost when you need it the most. Track, analyze, and optimize your performance. Gatorade GX, built to fuel, customized for you.
There was really a lot in that video, and there's a lot going on with the system. Xavi and I thought we'd pull out a few things that, from our experience, really highlight some of the unique stuff that we're doing from an innovation perspective. So I'll go through 3 quick areas of what we would call innovation unlocks. So the first one is really around the packaging. And so with this one, it really all starts with what we call the pod, which I have here in my hand. So what's really interesting about this pod is it really aligns very well with current athlete behavior. Athletes are always on the go. They have predictable training schedules. They're looking for things that are small and portable and easy to carry. And with this pod, all you need to do is add water to it, and you create a 30-ounce sports fuel drink. And if you think about the athletic occasion, there's always water around, whether it's the locker room, the sideline, all those kinds of things. So we've designed a packaging system that fits really well into current athlete behavior. The second thing that's great about this pod is it allows us to create a lot of functional customization. So we're creating many different formulas where we can vary carbohydrates and electrolytes and then deliver these to the athletes at the right times. And then also, again, because it's small, we can make a lot of different flavors. And we know athletes have very specific preferences around, oh, I like the lemon lime, I like this. And so this one pod allows us to do many different things. The next packaging innovation is around the bottle itself. And what's really interesting about what we've done with the bottle, and this really came out in the piloting we did. We didn't know this was going to happen, but athletes love to express themselves. And so we were able to develop a system where we can give athletes the ability to express themselves through a custom printed, digitally printed ring that lives on top of this new bottle that we've designed. And so in addition to color customization, we're also doing individual customization where you can put your name, your team, or your favorite team, your jersey number. All these things can fit onto this ring and then make this vessel, make this bottle your experience. Some very interesting things happening around the bottle. And then to achieve this, we've actually moved to manufacturing in the United States and using very sophisticated digital printing as well. So a lot of interesting innovations happening here. The next area of innovation is really around tracking. And so the first thing that Xavi mentioned is to deliver this level of true customization around athlete performance, we need to really do a diagnostic test on how people sweat. We need to know how fast they sweat and what the composition of their sweat is. We can do that in the lab now, no problem. It just takes time. And for this to become something that everyday athletes can use, we need to have a technology unlocked to do that. We've been working on, and this is in development, it's what we call a sweat patch. It's a connected sweat patch. Athlete can wear it. It's a one-time use during a training session. It measures how much they sweat and the composition of their sweat, and then we use NFC to load that into the system. This is a way that we're able to really do a kind of consumer-level diagnostics, which can lead to true personalization and customization. The second piece around the tracking is the smart cap itself. It's covered a lot in the video, but we've developed a proprietary way to track consumption on the field. This cap is a sort of an IoT device with a long-range protocol. It has a proprietary flow meter in it, which allows us to very accurately measure each sip that an athlete takes on the field. But what's really interesting and what we learned in the piloting, and we've added into the second version, which you see here, is it's a bidirectional device. It's sort of a wearable for athletes that you don't wear, meaning that we can load an actual sports fuel recommendation into the cap. The cap itself can communicate with the athletes and coaches on the field, tell them how much they've drank, how much they should be drinking, and what pace they should be drinking it at. And so this becomes a real unlock for behavior change actually on the field. The third major area of innovation that we've been focusing on is the whole digital platform itself. And if you look through the video, there's a lot of different pieces here. And so we've got many different components that are in the digital platform that use different types of technology. So we are using Zigbee communication, we're using SMS text, we're using NFC, we're using Surface tablets running Chrome apps. We have proprietary algorithms which are generating the fuel recommendations. All of these things need to be tied together in a really seamless way and also very secure. We're dealing with professional athlete information, and so security is really critical. And so just working through how to do that has been one of the biggest challenges we've been going for the past couple of years. And then the last thing, and I think this is one of the most important things from a business and brand perspective, is it really unlocks a significant business impact for Gatorade. So what we're doing is, because we're creating this direct personalization experience with their athletes, suddenly we're opening up opportunity for Gatorade to have a more direct and more close communication with the athletes who use the brand. And then the second thing is, because these pods are so efficient, a case of pods is about 85% smaller than a case of regular Gatorade. It unlocks a whole new business model for Gatorade, where we can start to use e-commerce to service the needs of athletes and teams around the world. And so those things come together to make a really significant impact. So we believe with these new unlocks that we'll be able to continue the evolution, in the legacy of Dr. Cade from 50 years ago. We're really excited about the summer. We're doing some very ambitious things. So this summer, we're going to actually be launching the Pro platform with some of the best teams in the world. So there's no pressure, but returning Super Bowl champions to Barcelona football, to the Celtics. So it's going to be an exciting summer. And then this fall, some of the more mass elements of the platform, the customization, the pods, are going to be available to everyday athletes through e-commerce. And so it's going to be a very busy year for us coming up. I'm nervous if we get invited to come back next year about what we'll say how it goes, but we'll see. And so, you know, I think from our perspective, and you think back to Dr. Cade filling up Dixie cups on the sideline 50 years ago, and you think about where we are today and what we're doing for athletes, you know, we feel that the next 50 years are really starting right now. Thank you.